everyone. My name is Sherifat Ochua Omoba. Welcome to Life of an Ordinary Nigerian, where we talk about life in Nigeria and the peculiarities of being a Nigerian. So today's episode, we'll be talking about something that is very common, that is on the rise in recent times. And that is the issue of everyone wants to japa. Everybody wants to run away from Nigeria. I'm sure we can all agree, we'll find a common ground and agree that nothing feels like it's working in this country. So would you blame anybody for wanting to run? But then I have a few concerns I'd like to share with you as usual, so we can talk about these things, join our heads, interact. I'll drop mine, you drop yours, and then we'll see. Now the question is, I have 7 questions actually earmarked for this episode, and I'd like to ask them one by one, hoping that we'll talk about it later in the comment section. Now my first question is, why are you leaving Nigeria? Why do you want to leave Nigeria? Are you leaving because everyone wants to leave, or have you actually been a victim of this hardship? Have you been on the receiving end of this hardship and what's going on? Or you just want to go because it feels like every youth wants to jack, but everybody wants to run from Nigeria. So you too, you want to go. I'd like to know that. It's a very, it's a big question. Like, you can't just wake up. This thing about relocation is something that is like a life decision. It's huge. So before you just wake up and decide, I want to do the visa, I want to do this, I want to go to this country, because as it is right now, it's frustrating to the point that people don't even mind. They want to go to Seme. They don't mind. They just want to cross Lagos, but enter Seme, enter Cotonou, go to Ghana, anywhere except Nigeria. And I'm forced to ask myself, what's supposed to be the giants of Africa? No, not West Africa, but the giants of Africa. And then you see people wanting to go to Seme, Cotonou. I'm not faulting anyone for wanting to leave. I don't blame anyone. I'm sure if I didn't enjoy my show so much, maybe I would want to run too. I'm not going anywhere. I love my fatherland. So, why do you want to leave? Really? What are your plans? Why do you want to go? Have you, is there something that has happened to you, or things that have happened to you? What are the factors? What are the things that are pushing you that, make you want to make this huge life decision to leave this country and go to another man's land and start living there? Are there things you've seen, or you just want to do it because other people are doing it? When you find the answers to that, I'll look forward to reading it from the comments section. Now to the next question. Times are hard, things are hard, we know that, but do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? It's something my dad used to say. He was always drumming it in our ears while growing up, that the reason his life is the way it is because he planned his life. There's nobody that believes in planning as much as my father. So I grew up, having to learn all the intricacies of having to plan everything. So imagine a huge decision like leaving, relocating out of your country to a strange man's land where you probably don't know anyone or have anyone and all. What plan do you have? So I remember the story a classmate of mine shared. She told us about how an uncle of hers had sold his hospital. He had a big hospital. He sold it because he wanted to go abroad to look for greener pastures. And for 16 years, nobody heard a thing from him. Nobody saw him, nobody heard from him, no letter, no calls, nothing. And then a relative happened to travel to the same country 16 years later. And guess what? The Uber that came to pick the relative was their missing uncle. How's that for a plot twist? So it's really, I don't know, when you look at it, what are the odds that if her uncle had remained in Nigeria, he probably would have been doing better. Maybe by now it'd be mega. The hospital would be much more bigger. And then, I'm just saying. It leads me to my third question. Is your process genuine? How you want to go? The method in which you want to travel, to relocate abroad, is it genuine? How do you want to go? I'm bringing this up because it's shocking, or it's alarming rather, to say that even in 2021, where I come from, Edo State, people still go abroad by road. People still travel abroad. We call it Obodo Ibo. People still go to the Obodo Ibo by road. They do these things. You still have people, you still have all these women and men who lure people and tell them to pay a certain fee and all that, and then they will take them through Libya, some other African countries, and then cross over to through some water, international water, to some place and all that before they arrived in Europe. Let me use the word they call it, arrow. So there's a way we call it over here, you know, and it's crazy. Like, how do you find, and you would think that the only kind of people that will fall prey to these things are maybe illiterates, but no, not true. Even people who are educated still fall prey to these things, still travel by road. Young people, young men and women still fall for these things, still, you know, get lured with the promise of greener pastures, a better life in Europe, a better life in the abroad and all that, and then they go. Now, I don't have a problem against how anyone wants to hustle or how you want to go about it, but please do not fall a victim of these things. It's alarming that in 2021 we still have these things happening. It's like modern day slavery or modern day trafficking. It's still happening. And that leads me to the next question. Are you leaving anybody behind? Are you a husband? Are you leaving your wife or your kids behind? Are you a wife? Are you leaving your husband and your children behind because it will be easier as a woman to go and work in the abroad and send money back home? Are you leaving your aged parents? Are there people who are depending on you for survival? Are you leaving them behind to go to this unknown place? So the reason I brought this up is because there's a story that cuts very close to home. You know, when my parents live, like, a few blocks away from their house, there was a case of a woman whose husband had left her for, what, over 10 years. She still hears from him. They communicate, you know, via phone and all that. They talk, and then sometimes he sends stipends home for the wife and the kids. Other times it doesn't, and, you know, they have to survive on something else. And then, you know, this young woman started, in order to survive, started looking for other means. She was doing petty trading, and maybe I don't know what could have led to it. I'm not here to condemn or criticize. I'm just trying to share lessons here. She started cheating on her husband. She was sleeping around and then got caught. And in fact, the story is one very long, lengthy story. Bottom line is, some relatives had come to the house from the husband's side, caught the young man, and in a bid to protect herself because she was scared, she claimed the young man was attempting to rape her or had attempted to rape her. And they beat up, you need to see the yard people. You trust Nigerians now, jungle justice. They beat up, thank God they did not burn this young man alive. They beat up this guy. They beat up this guy to the point that he almost died. He lost consciousness. And guess what? This story, my parents witnessed it. They saw it happen. And you know why the story was touching? Because a lot of people knew that this woman was cheating, knew that this guy did not attempt to rape that woman. She lied to cover up. But then who are you going to blame? The young man who knew that he was sleeping with a married woman, someone's wife, or the husband who had gone abroad and left his vulnerable wife and kids at the mercy of, I don't know, or the woman who's having to deal with an absentee husband and father for many years, and probably she's been starved on all levels, sexually, financially, and a lot of other things. I'll leave that for you to answer. To my fifth question, have you counted the costs? Now we've heard stories of where people abandon their good jobs, good paying jobs. You have people who earn what, 500K, 300K, even 200,000, and then they just leave it and want to go abroad to a place where they don't have anything. They don't have any job yet, and they end up going there, going to wash plates or wash dead bodies abroad or mop restaurants. I am not trying to degrade anyone's hustle, not at all. That's why I said this is an interactive session. We can share and learn from each other. I just want to understand the rationale behind it. Like, have you thought about the cost of living? I mean, like, would you rather, let's say the money you want to use to travel abroad, would you rather invest it in a side hustle here in Nigeria and then see the profit that comes out of it? Or you don't mind, you just want to go there. It doesn't matter if you wash plates or wash dead bodies or work in a restaurant, you just want to go abroad. So is there a plan? Have you thought about the cost? Now, to my sixth question, do you have anybody where you're going to? Let me rephrase it in the way we understand. You get anybody who will receive you for there. Because we know of cases. This particular one, I have someone who talked to me about, about this and said, if she had a way, if she could go back in time and change things, she would never have left this place. Why? Because she went on the promises of someone. Come over, no worry, wait till you do for Nigeria. Come, I go handle everything. As small thing, where to stay, one thing, and all. And then she sold everything, everything, and just went, and she got there and it was something else that was waiting for her. Back home in Nigeria, see, the good thing about Nigerians is we're always willing to help each other. Do you know that strangers offer accommodation to strangers? Like, you can just be stranded and in a place where you know nobody, maybe you went for an interview or something, and all you have to do is just call one person. I beg, I did this place, so you know person, I did stranded, person when no person, and before you know, somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody is already offering help to you. I don't think that kind of thing happens abroad. Not from the way I have lots of friends abroad, and I know how they tell me, we talk about these things. I don't think it happens that way, where anyone would just open their home to a stranger and give you a place to rest your head for a few days, pending when you're done with whatever it is you came to do. So you really need to think about that. If you have someone to receive you when you get there, good for you. But if you do not have anyone that is going to receive you when you get there, then please be very sure, critically, which was the fifth question we talked about. Have you counted the cost? Think about it before you go. Make sure you've sorted out your accommodation, where you put your head, how you're going to feed for the first few weeks. So do not leave your country where you're already frustrated to another man's land and still be frustrated. It's worse over there. Now to my seventh question, the last but definitely not the least. Are you marketable? Are you valuable? There's something my uncle used to tell me. A lizard in Nigeria is still a lizard in America. So what value do you have? How have you improved on yourself? I mean, if you were here and maybe you were doing really well, your skill or whatever you do is in high demand, chances are that you go there and probably do even better. But then if you were nothing, if you were already a non-entity, I don't mean that as an insult, here, doing nothing, no value, no skill, no nothing, and then you want to go there and hope that miraculously everything is just going to fall in place. The minute you go there, 2 weeks after, you're making mega, you're making all the millions and sending back home. Think again, no. Think again. But then if you've decided to stay, hold on to your God very well. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching this. See you on another episode of Life of an Ordinary Nigerian. Please do not forget to subscribe, to like, to share, and to comment. The comments are very important because, remember, we're going to be very interactive on this section. Thank you for watching this. Stay blessed.